Okay, good evening. We're gonna start the meeting for our Public Works, today, January the 5th, at 8 o'clock PM. Okay. And we're gonna forego, the silence and meditation, pledge of allegiance, since we already had it. So, Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call? Is that it?
Member Irvin,
Present.
Member Nicholson,
Here.
and Chair Farrell.
Here.
Level one.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now, the agenda item, approval of agendas. The agenda is, do I get an approval of agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda, Mr. Chair. I will second that motion.
Okay. Madam Clerk, may I have a,
All in favor, you could all in favor.
I'm sorry?
You don't need a roll call.
No, I need a roll call. Okay, so the agenda has been approved.
All
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
No nays? Okay, we'll go ahead and continue with the meeting. We have our guests from Craig and Smith, Mr. Orlando Rubio, right? Yes. And he's gonna give us some, update on the El Jardín and the issues with the potholes and the flooding and the area, right? Pretty much.
Good evening, Council and Public Works Committee. My name is Orlando Rubio. I'm the senior engineer for Craig A. Smith and Associates. Let me start with El Jardín first. The project is permitted and designed to just kind of update the board. A while back, we got a stormwater grant from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection for $550,000 to do a drainage improvement in the El Jardín area. So money for that went for 100% design of the whole system with a phased construction. And that's to provide positive drainage for that area into the Little River. We had issues in obtaining a legal positive outfall to the river from residents that live there. So we had about 2 or 3 tries and we couldn't get that outfall. But what we can do in the interim, as the council approved months ago, or maybe last year, I'm going to say, is we can do a construction phase that doesn't deal with the outfall at the present time, and that's where we're at as far as what can go out to bid. The improvements that was shown to the council back in the day was Northeast First Court between 86th and 87th, and then 87th Street just east of Northeast First Court. That'll cover the phase 1 construction. But again, the whole system is pretty much designed except for the solidifying a positive outfall to the Little River, as we've done in other phases. With that, the village hasn't finalized the state agreement for the grant yet. There were 2 items that needed to be done. I got a hold of Sandy Waters today. Apparently you've fulfilled completing your W-9 form, but you haven't become an official vendor with the state of Florida portal site. So it's an online submittal you have to do, and I believe you're having your new CFO trying to do that. But if he or she has any questions, just call them and they'll guide them through it. But you've got to become an active vendor with the Florida Department to get that. I can resend you the email that Sandy sent to me on that today. But you get that going, then they'll execute the agreement so that you can get reimbursed.
Real quick, Mr. Rubio?
Sure.
This has nothing to do with the CBDG.
No, this is outside the city.
Okay,
Nothing
okay.
to do-
Well, because that's something that we're working on currently, like, we have to really, okay.
Yeah, that's something so totally separate.
Okay, this is, okay, all right, thank you.
So we get that agreement, once you get it executed, you can get reimbursed for, the services you paid so far, and you can put the project out to bid, and so that you can get reimbursement once the contractor starts invoicing that, so. If you can get that agreement executed, hopefully maybe you can start construction in a few months. Going through the public bid process and all that stuff, and we'll get a phase for Hardin done.
And so you're being in contact with the CFO and the manager, they already know what they need to do to do their W-9 and, oh no, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And then there was Chris asked me to come here regarding the pothole and resurfacing for all the.
And, I'm sorry, excuse me, Mr. Rubio.
Sure.
And much needed drainage that, it was mostly on the other side of Northeast Second, right? For the,
El Hardin is between,
this Northeast Second and Fourth, right here, we're close to the,
it's off 86 and, it's Northeast Second, between North Miami and Northeast Second,
okay, that area.
yeah. But,
And
Did I answer?
you guys were able to locate one in Northeast Court, something like that? And that was,
yeah, the phase
able to-
of construction that we can do now will be on Northeast First Court between
Right.
86th and 87th, and then a couple hundred feet east of, on 87th Street off First Court.
okay, Good.
That's as far as we project the money will take you. The bids coming high, we'll have to shrink that phase. If they come in low, maybe we can do a little more, because
Okay.
it'll all be on there in the bid.
okay, good. Sorry.
All right, so going off the estimates or the assessment we did for the village regarding probable cost estimates for roadway and sidewalk improvements back in June of 2019. What we did, I had one of our field reps come out and assess the roads throughout the village, and we kind of, it wasn't a full-blown, exploratory, we didn't do any geotechnical testing of the roads or anything like that. It was more visual observation.
Right.
So we categorize roads as do an overlay only, do a mill and resurfacing, which is you scrape some of the asphalt out and then you put in new asphalt back in. Or some of that includes a little bit of roadway widening to make the travel lanes a little bit safer to drive through. Some lanes are really narrow here in the village, as some of you might notice. On top of that, Chris just sent me information regarding the pothole situation on 89th Street by the doctor's office. So again, that road is part of the milling and resurfacing project too. But that area, we also, prior to this, we also did a small proposal to do drainage improvements in that where the potholes are getting worse now because water's just collecting and sitting there. Yeah, you could bring in, some of these asphalt companies and some of them will do some repair and overlay, but through time, water's just gonna stand there, it's gonna damage the asphalt again, and you're gonna be repairing it. So if you do anything, if you can't do anything there, do a drainage improvement so that you can protect the parking area there from excessive ponding, long-term ponding. The catch basin with a drain field would help the water perk out quicker, and it'll prolong the life of your asphalt.
Okay,
But, again, like, the overall assessment, I mean, we have,
Okay, before you go to that, I think Mr. Geller, wanted to say something.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. Hello, Mr. Rubio.
how are you? Welcome back.
Would the drainage improvement that you're recommending be to address the situation in that area? Would that be in the street or in the right-of-way swale?
Right away, swell.
That's in the right of way, it's in the village right of way, where they, I mean, that has the parking, but that's all village right of way. And the potholes are right on the,
I'm gonna get with Wes Irby about that, but we'll be circling back to you to find out. In fact, if you would, if you could send another copy of whatever the small, as you call it, proposal was to fix that drainage, if you could send that to me or send it to the manager who forwarded it to me, so when we address the issue about the swale with Plus Urbia, which I hope will be end of this week, we can circle back to you to be sure that we're able to accomplish something that will keep us from fixing it and having to fix it again.
right, sure, I can do that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Sure.
Yeah, now, I'm sorry, Mr. Rubio, I also had a question because I had, there's, in that corner, there's two drainage, that they're actually county drainage, right?
Yes,
Can we do can the repair be in so where, you know, the water actually goes to that, because it's right next to it, or is it something that has to,
no.
no?
A long time ago, we did a similar small drainage improvement, just on the west, on the south side of the Harding area. And what I wanted to do was put an overflow into the county system.
Okay,
And that got rejected because that drainage system serves a very large drainage area that's coming all the way from the north and south.
hmm,
And it could backflow onto us more. That's what the county said. So that drainage system was left as a blind drainage system. So you have collection and drain field, and it's working
right,
for minor to moderate events, you know. But we could not connect to the county because the county and DOT, they're very not receptive to allowing other drainage to come in there because it overtaxes their system.
hmm,
Unless the drainage area was sized, the receiving drainage area was accounted for in their system, and it wasn't, because a long time ago, back in say 2000, 2002, we did a master plan, stormwater master plan, and we looked at county drainage plans, and we looked at what they accounted for and what they didn't account for, and so we pretty much figured out we couldn't do it. And again, we tried it one time, the county rejected that proposal for us.
so not even, so it's not a solution like where if you will, you know, lift up the road a little bit, just to have the slope to that side, to the, instead of being towards the,
Yeah, again, well, you can reconstruct it, but again, you're bringing new drainage area
Got it.
into someone else's
into someone
system,
else's system?
and you'll need permission to do that.
Okay.
Can
Mr.
be
Gerler?
done.
Yeah, it can be.
It can be, I mean, but yeah, but, so, yeah, so I think a drainage improvement in that area is recommended before you do any asphalt work, because I drove by it tonight before I got
No,
here.
it's really bad.
Even at night, it looks pretty
But
bad.
we have two situations there. We have the road, which it has the potholes, it's really bad. Also the alley that connects to the road right back there is really bad. But then you have the right-of-way, the easement, which I need, you know, I know the specific building needs it for parking.
Yeah.
But in reality, the village can, if it's a right-of-way, can just have it as a green space, and that will solve some of the problem?
If you do something what they, you know, in the industry for parking areas, you can put pervious pavement, or pervious pavers, or pervious concrete.
Well, that's super expensive, yeah.
It can be pretty costly.
costly, yeah.
It's more costly than just doing a minor drainage improvement and rework the asphalt.
Okay,
But
Mr.
you,
Gre-
I mean, can, but
Right.
it's more pricier.
Yeah. Okay, so Mr. Geller, you have
Yes,
something to say?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mhm.
And the other question I have with Mr. Rubio, my understanding,
Yeah.
which is, not a perfect understanding by any stretch, but in addition to that problem, there's another similar, somewhat less severe, but similar problem like a block away at what they call the cottages, and have you, and your firm studied that spot as well and made any recommendation about what should be done to that other?
I don't know, we haven't been asked to look at that.
That's, yeah, that's on Second on the other side and on.
Well, again, if you look, when we go back to the original stormwater master plan, we have a storm sewer system laid out for this whole area. So I can send you the stick diagram showing up where all the improvements were conceptualized back then.
It might be better for the moment if you could share that with the manager and the committee chair
Yeah.
and let them get a look at it, and then when they figure out what they would like to have happen there, whether you need to study it further or what you've done is sufficient, at that point I can get with them and we can address the swale issue, which I believe it's also a swale issue. So we can address that swale issue when we address the one at the intersection we're now discussing.
I'm sorry,
We have some level of concern, my understanding is that the village has some level of concern with both, although the other is less severe. Is that right?
Yes,
Chair?
that's completely right. Yeah, as we have talked a lot about it because it's a big concern for
Yeah.
potholes and stuff like that. And I went with Mr. Hernandez, which is the public works staffer, and we went around the village and we saw a few of the listings as the addresses that are listed here as a priority, and we actually saw that we have a much needed repair some of the places that are not on this list, which is, on northwest 86th Street, closer to the nature trail. I don't know what, Mr. Hernandez have the new addresses and stuff, but there are actually really bad potholes and stuff. So now we trying to accommodate two things here. And it's the situation with the flooding and the issue with also the potholes. So
I mean, the potholes because of your standing water.
of the standing water, and it become worse. But yeah, definitely we need to tackle more of potholes that are in really bad shape, especially in that area. And of course, that in front of the doctor's office right there. But the road, I'm not talking about the easements, because for that is in like Mr. Geller mentioned, the ones by there's two more here that they're part of the, where the cottages are, like on 89 and 88. So those are areas that are used by commercial properties.
Yeah.
And so right now, it's just like we don't have the money to do everything. So I rather to tackle more about, potholes and not the easements at this present moment. So it's, unfortunately, we don't have the CFO, but the manager have some information about, money and whatever we have available for the project that we need to, start moving on. And so I had asked the manager to, Mrs. Liu, to actually reassess the list with the new findings, the new addresses that we had in, because I think, and Mr. Hernandez agreed that those potholes are really, really bad. They're deep and dangerous. So, yeah. You gonna continue, or?
Oh, I just
Yeah.
wanted to say.
Go ahead.
Yes, we are reassessing, one good thing we've done is always itemized it instead of putting it all together. So it's by pothole and area by area. So we are, again, going back to the drawing board with a couple of other locations that are very key. It's more of a street issue because they're so close to the edge of the road, but we're trying to see what we can do. So the reassessment is being done now. We have some people coming out. Mr. Hernandez is here. He wanted to be here tonight to, in case you had any questions, and just to see how the process is going with this,
Right.
because this is his project too. And so we'll have, as much as we can get to the council as quickly as we can. And I know Mr. Hernandez has a meeting this week with your H&R or M&R.
I have a new company that it's called HRP Pavings. They're actually working down the street by the bridge.
Mhm.
They're gonna come and give us a new code, the new addresses of the new potholes that we assessed. So we just see what we could add it to the.
Perfect,
So we'll have that very soon.
perfect.
We'll
And
provide all that information to all of you as well.
perfect. And Mr. Rubio, going back to the list of the recommendations you said, and going back to the flooding and thus, and why the streets gets, how they get, there are two addresses here, on Northeast 88th and 90th. Yeah, and I completely agree, and I said it, in the last meeting about when they were touching about the flooding and all of that. If you take a look at those, houses, and between the Northeast 4th and 5th, I think it is, or 3rd and 4th. That would be 455 Northeast 88th Street, or 90th Street, I'm sorry. 445 Northeast 90th Street. There's like 4 or 5 houses there that the whole easement is paved. So water has nowhere to go but to the road. So, yeah, it's pretty bad. So I understand, what water can do to our small streets, roads.
Yeah.
So that is something that definitely, if we are gonna try to fix those easements on those two properties,
You
it
said
has to be.
easement because they're asphalted?
Yeah, the right-of-ways, the right-of-ways, yeah. So, yeah, we have to use some of the materials that you're suggesting in order for us not to be like in the same situation that we're at now, right?
Right. Yes. And, the potholes that kind of just standing water over long term, causes those damages.
Okay,
Takes money.
perfect, yeah.
But, all right, but I will share, that information with you and the attorney.
It-
and,
Do you guys have any questions, and the council has any questions for Mr. Rubio or the manager, or?
I do, I have a couple of questions and a couple of comments here. How you doing, Mr. Rubio?
How are
Welcome. Thank you for being here. Regarding the El Jardín project and the stormwater mitigation, in terms of requiring that outflow at some point, right, into the canal, is that an absolute requirement for the overall project? Is there, I think I had asked this maybe 6 months ago or longer, but probably a year ago at this point. I'm just curious, with this first phase that we're going to hopefully be able to get started in terms of, construction, right?
Yes.
That phase is a small enough of a plan that the design of it will accomplish stormwater mitigation without having an outflow. Is that correct?
Yes, it's gonna hold back your first flush.
Okay, so
It's
would
a
that,
net benefit, yeah.
okay,
That's
so let's say we complete that. It seems to be working well enough, right? We find the money for the next phase of construction. Now, am I picturing this correct in thinking this was kind of like the 10 phase, the stormwater mitigation had kind of like 10 different sections? Kind of like the way you're describing it is almost like a little L,
That is
this first
correct.
phase, right?
Right.
Are there 10 of those that are fit together for the overall
The
plan?
overall drainage system is there, it's all, the entire El Jardín drainage design, it's all tied together. So you can continue, if we still don't have a positive drainage to the Little River, you can still continue doing,
Okay,
drain fields all the way up to the north of the
Okay.
basin. And you're gonna.
is the overall project designed with the canal being to the south,
Mhm.
is the overall project designed so that each phase essentially drains a little to the south, and that eventually you have a construction underground that, that uses that outflow to the canal? Is that kind of the overall thinking, is bring everything south so that it can outflow to the canal?
Right. Well, everything right now is flowing south.
Okay.
And it's overwhelming the lower lying roads.
Okay.
And then, well.
So it's
all-
not just coming from the canal as it
No,
draws the
coming
banks?
from the north,
Okay,
because the elevations are higher.
okay,
From and it's all trying to get to the
Sure.
to the river. What we try to do is kind of create a cascading system
okay,
to
okay,
capture, retain, and then overflow.
okay,
So it's a step-down system
okay,
from the north to the south, so that we don't overwhelm the lower lying streets by the river.
okay.
So if you just do improvements, of
It-
north, between this phase and to the north, you're gonna help the roads to the south.
Sure,
And we can monitor that, and maybe we don't have to do a positive outfall,
okay.
but, it's.
Then throwing convention out, so to speak, because the convention tells you get to the canal, get the outflow to the canal, right? That's a
Yeah.
convention. So, so if there is a scenario where that really is never a possibility that comes to fruition, is there a design that would still allow us to be effective at stormwater mitigation without having an outflow in that overall system? Even,
No, you have to buy property and put ponds.
okay,
you
okay.
know, You have to, which is not good for the neighborhood.
So you couldn't do it almost in reverse, where you've got, I'm not sure the terminology of what to me, I'm thinking of words like cistern, I'm thinking of drain field, I'm thinking of the space where the water essentially is allowed to
Yeah,
gather
there's-
while it's outflowing.
Yeah, there's things in the market where you can do like an underground stormwater vault,
Okay,
but that's a big
Sure.
old box as big as this building, that's gotta go in the ground, that's
Sure.
very expensive,
okay,
that's,
all right.
it can be done, but it's just.
I'm just curious to know I'm just curious to know what's gonna happen when we get to that point of, well, let's say we've gotten like 2 phases under construction, and, we see a path through to completion of this thing, but we still don't have an outflow
Yeah.
available.
The thing what happened was too is, again, this part of the village does have an existing outfall to the
Okay.
river, but it's a small pipe, and it's between 2 houses,
Okay,
and there are utilities there, and there's a power pole right in the middle of the way.
gotcha.
Contractor's never gonna be able to get through that.
Okay.
He'll be hitting us with change orders left and right
Okay,
to go, to save the homes,
okay,
because there's not much space to work in. And
Okay.
you just can't, that's why we had to get try to look for an alternate site to get positive outfall, because
okay,
it was not, I didn't foresee it as being constructible.
okay, very good. And then regarding the pothole, specifically as we look at this commercial property here on 89th and East Second, right?
Yeah,
So I think what we're saying is that, okay, the swale is effectively the villages, right? So you're saying that we could preserve the parking spaces if we go through with a more expensive design that has a permeable surface for those parking services, and you can still create a drain field. That's still achievable. It's just expensive. Is that what we're saying?
correct.
Okay. So then I guess my comment then to the committee would be that, so one of my goals with bringing Pluserbia at the end of the month to the full council meeting to present Juan has a fairly detailed, I forget the exact terminology, but something to the effect of road resiliency, street resiliency, right? And flood mitigation is part of his design. That's, yeah.
Mr. Chair, if I might, Vice Mayor, we have some legal issues with it that have to do with not just the cost of actually doing the work, but there are issues that we are looking at and will be consulting with Pluserbia about the cost of maintenance of it as well.
Sure.
Who's gonna be responsible for that cost?
Sure.
It's a little more than just, the that is what the issue is from the engineering standpoint.
Right, and, yes, and so, you know, my goal in bringing Placervia to lay out this plan to us as the council is to begin what's going to be a multi-year process of getting to any type of a decision on action, right? This is a village-wide plan. It's comprehensive. It's you know, it doesn't leave very many details out. So this is not going to be something where they come and present for 20 minutes in January, and I'm pushing you guys to try and vote on something like the next month. My goal is to have this presented as an idea. Okay, this is what could be possible at some point in the future, right? And so, so I guess that leads me to the question of if we just, Mr. Ruby, if we just pave over, if we just do a simple, I think you said mill and resurface, right, on that section there. Just get it to where it's functional again. Yes, it's going to collect water. Yes, it'll deteriorate. Do you have an estimation of how long it would be before that would deteriorate? I mean, would it be less than 1 year?
It could be a year.
Could be a year. Okay. All right. So in that, I guess what I'm thinking is that if this just needs to be fixed and we don't have a long-term plan yet for that area, right, in terms of design, then I might surprise myself by saying maybe
Well,
we
we
just
do from a stormwater master plan.
Yes.
That's planned already, but
Okay.
if you want something beyond drainage. that's-
no, not necessarily, but
But the whole village is planned out.
right, but we're not going to be enacting that plan in the immediate
Right.
or near future,
No,
right?
you can do pieces of it.
Right.
Like you have been over the
Right.
years, you know, but.
Okay, so my thinking is that we just need to restore functionality to that area, understanding we're probably going to redo it anyway because we have any number, you know, 1 or 2 different plans being formulated for like long-term fixing that area.
And again, I'm sorry to interrupt,
that's
and
fine.
again, it all comes back to, you know, the funds that we have available and whatever
Right.
the reassessment of the potholes will be, and then we can probably determine whether we have, you know, available funds to then proceed, and then, and like the lawyer said, he has something to say, you know, put something in writing, and who is responsible, not, you know,
Sure.
who's gonna be responsible for that, if they're gonna be using as a parking, who's gonna, you know, and that's pretty much what it comes down to.
Okay.
Because we cannot be fixing something and somebody's benefiting from it without actually doing, and I understand that's why we're discussing this, because it's actually a right of way. It belongs to the city, it doesn't belong to the property owner.
Right.
So, but they're benefiting from it as well.
And if I can add to that, the point is that when Mr. Rubio describes the village-wide drainage, that's a plan. That's a plan in existence, that's all well and good. But where there are a couple of isolated incidences that are particular because they are in commercial use and are subject to different stress on them, we may need to have a different approach to those isolated commercial areas because they're distinct from most of the rest of what's covered in his plan. And we want to be sure that the village and the residents are treated fairly in terms of what the plan is going to be to deal with those unique commercial couple of corners that we're talking about.
Okay.
Because we also don't want to make it impossible, because the whole plan of a charrette and whatever we
Right.
had, and Juan's vision as our urban planner is to actually entice people to use the Northeast Second Street as a commercial, more as a commercial area, a little downtown. And so in that specific location, the only way for them to comply with parking situation, it's using that
Okay.
easement, so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Meyer.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Mr.
I appreciate that. Yes, Placervia and I were working on a parking plan over 2 years ago, continuing trying to work with the county to get some activity on Northeast Second, because that is the plan.
Right.
Based on the charrette and other things, we wanted to do the parking, plan for Northeast Second that would be enticing, to businesses to come and to, be on that, corridor. And that was also the reason I made the recommendation, before, some months ago, because we didn't have the parking plan in place, making us responsible or not responsible, we don't know, but I did not want to be responsible for parking that was being utilized, by businesses, so we wanted to then, see what we could do,
Exactly,
legally for
because it
that.
will
So
be
that's why
great
it
to
was brought
using
to us in the
Northeast
first place.
Second as Miami Shores does, and where the people can park on the
Absolutely.
side of the road, and then,
And the maintenance of that, so that was,
and that's,
we wanted to move forward.
I'm sorry,
with
that's
that.
also a traffic calming,
It is.
situation there.
Yeah.
It is.
That'll
So,
be great to
where
have that
we
approved.
Last stood, and I know this has been in my manager's reports for over a year, that, they were working on the parking plan. We were, at a standstill waiting for Miami-Dade County, because that's a county road, Northeast Second
Right.
Avenue. So we were still waiting to meet with Dallas Bravo, who's the director of that department, to see what we can work out. We'd already been told no about the reduction of the speed limit when the, young lady came here from her office to explain why, but we still wanted to give it another try. So I would love to reinvigorate that parking plan and that calming and the, revitalization of the Northeast Second Avenue corridor, and to talk about the parking plan. So I'm glad that will be coming online, through your efforts.
I'm sorry, and for that, Mrs. Lou, because I know we talked about it, it'll be best if we conduct the traffic calming ourselves instead of having somebody else come in and do it, because it's not,
Well,
it doesn't benefit us at all,
well,
but,
I think they've already done it, and they said
Right.
no, but I know
unless
that
we
other
have
municip-
something conducted from
Right,
us,
other
from
municipalities
ourselves.
utilize their own or find a service that can prove, some things that may not be tested when it's done from another agency.
Yeah.
So it could benefit us better if we utilize our own, but I know those things can be pricey.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Any more questions from the council to the manager or Mr. Geller or Mr. Rubio?
Not necessary.
Hello? Not, not necessarily, but, so when you first came up, so there's something that we have to take care of as far as getting that paperwork in,
Yes.
and so we're up on that.
You can talk to someone today, we'll
Okay, so we're up on that, and then for the, are we gonna come back for the January council meeting with the updated, pothole? I mean,
So, yes, I would like to. I want to bring that to you as soon as we get the next set of quotes.
yeah, so we can start to like really move
Really
on that.
move it on,
I mean,
yes.
I think we've differentiated during this meeting that there's some areas that's more than just
Trouble.
the
Yeah.
potholes. So it would be a waste of money to do those areas and just cover up the potholes. But wherever we can cover up the potholes, I want to get it done. I
Yeah,
really want to get it
that'll
done
be
as
done,
quickly
yeah.
as possible.
I mean, it's
so.
okay to do temporary fixes until you come back with, a more viable solution, but,
Right.
Yeah.
it's.
No, but I mean, temporary fixes where the pothole is so dangerous that even if we don't have the money to fix the whole street, we need to fix those potholes anyway. But where there's
Yeah.
where there's smaller potholes where it's the street, then I don't know if we should throw money. I mean, that's a discussion we have to have. But I don't know if we should throw money, to those potholes if they're not so large to where they're a large nuisance, and the street is the problem. Maybe we should hold that off. Maybe that should be like phase 2 or something. But I definitely want like a phase 1 of potholes going into January's full council meeting so that we can move on that immediately.
Which it will be the ones we actually, when it comes, see, there's two situations over here, like I keep saying it, is potholes and then the issue with these commercial properties with right-of-way that having, and as Mr. Rubio explained it, is just comes down to water seating over there, and that's why we have right-of-way the way they have them, and then the water running towards the road and also getting all, beat up. So, but definitely, like I said, we spoke to Mr. Alu and I with Mr. Hernandez. Like I said, we just went over to the new, what I thought it was more of an emergency, and none of them were on this list, and then we're gonna tackle that. And again, Mr. Lewis gonna talk about money probably, see how much we have, but we can't, decide anything until we actually get the new quotes from these companies.
And we'll have that January full,
Yes, matter of fact.
Well, I called a lot of the companies and they're busy for the beginning of the year because of the holidays.
okay.
So I have a few coming out starting in 2 weeks from now.
Okay, so probably February or March.
Some contracting firms shut down the last 2 weeks in December.
Okay. All right, well, as soon as we can. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so I close it to the council and open it to the public. Anybody in the public has something to say? Anything about, any questions or anything for Mr. Rubio or Mrs. Liu about the potholes and? No? Hearing none, so let's open it back to the council. And Mr. Rubio, anything else? You're all good?
No, we're good.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Thank you for being here. Yeah.
I will make
Okay, and so now we moving back
Want me
to,
to tell you about the funding for it?
yes,
Okay, so, unfortunately, our CFO is not present tonight, but he did manage to just give me some totals about what we do have available for road repair, sidewalk use from state, now, this is not CITT, this is state gas tax.
Right.
We have, $690,000 we can use.
okay.
That's good news.
That's excellent news.
Now, this is coming from our CFO, and he said that's our balance as of today, but he has not gotten, I don't know what any restrictions, if there are any, but as long as, we need to make sure that this is, everything. So these are just numbers he ran when he looked through our budget. He told me that it can be used for streets, roads, sidewalk use only. But
Perfect.
it's our state gas tax, that's not our CITT funds. Our CITT balance is $370,000, and as you all know, we're using $53,000, for our circulator, the one that will start soon, the little bus that goes downtown. So that was the 50-50 match with FDOT. So that's not the same fund, that's a different fund. The state gas tax, I don't know why this hasn't been used, I don't know why, but I want to research that more, and that's why I wish he was here so he could speak more about it, but these are just the numbers he gave me today at.
Well, that's very good news.
All right, but that's something, I think we have something we can work with.
Mr. Chair, if I may?
Sure.
I just want to be clear that, that fund, the gas tax fund, that's not a we don't get that every year.
No, that's a buildup.
That's a
for
buildup.
years. That's-
So,
Yeah, so that's why I
so,
wanted to give you more
yeah,
information. Yeah.
that's very important. Let's keep that in mind.
That's a
Let's not
collection.
think when we're thinking about what we're spending on, which is why I said we should do this in phases and take care of the potholes that are the largest, most dangerous, first. Because it's not like we get this $600,000 every year. This has been building up.
Right, this is a buildup of our
So,
state
okay,
gas tax
so
that we've collected through the years.
That's
Right.
that's something I do want to point out and you guys keep in mind as we're going into January, February, March.
Exactly. Okay.
And it's for specific uses, so again, can't be used for salary, all of that, that's not money just for, it's for specific use, so I'll, when I get with the CFO and get him in next week's meeting, we can talk more about that,
Perfect.
okay?
Thank you, Madam Manager. Okay, so moving on to, from the tracking report, we already touched on El Jardín project. We have parks and maintenance improvements. That's something that we had there, and we are trying to move on with the Cavista money to improve the parks, and we haven't had any responses from NEAT Miami. Um, Manager, we got together with the Miami a few months back, and then they're supposed to come back with a master plan to, and all the recommendations they did to improve, do little improvement in our
Yes.
parks. But it's something that we're still waiting on them to come back to.
I'm sorry, yes, we are, you're correct. We're waiting for responses and for people to get back online. There is a change in administration, not just in El Portal, but even in the county. And so we were told to just be a little patient, that once,
Right.
programs get, or started again under the new administration, new people are in, that they will come back to us. And, as time allows, we'll certainly pick up our parks project, because they seem to be very interested and had lots of ideas and resources, as well as a parks master plan that they would encourage us to follow, because it's already done, so we want to do that.
Perfect, thank you, yeah. And as far as, we just, say it again, about the top lot, our park remains closed.
Yes.
And until further notice, right?
Until
Yeah.
we can,
we can have,
until we can figure out some staffing, or hopefully the pandemic quails a bit and we get into a better situation. But under current CDC guidelines, we're not able to clean the park the way it needs to be cleaned with just one staff person, so we are keeping it closed to just maintain the public safety.
perfect. Any questions from the council? Any?
No, I mean, the tot lot is a, I mean, I get calls from
An
residents every
unfortunate,
day
right?
about the
Yeah.
tot lot,
Right.
every day about the tot lot,
Yes.
and it's difficult, so.
But people
I think
have
there's
to
something that
understand.
we need to, figure out. I mean, I don't know. Something that we can revisit in the future. Let's see how COVID looks in February and March, and
It's
maybe.
just dangerous. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
we just don't have the resources to do, and the constant cleaning and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, we just don't. But I get calls about the tot lot every day. Every day I get calls about the tot lot. Families and every park in Miami-Dade is pretty much open. Why not ours? And I get that every day. So
I understand.
I mean, I
It's
work in the
it's
retail
difficult.
businesses, and I'm telling you, our guidelines are very, like, we have to clean every 2 hours, and like all the employees, they need to fill out a paper every day, every morning they
Yeah,
come
we
to
need
work.
log it.
Make sure that, it's really,
Well-
it's unfortunate, but we have to live with it. Thank God we have a beautiful, beautiful town. There's houses are with plenty backyards and stuff like that. They can just, and I understand the park is something that you want to bring your kids and have fun, but it's just not the right time right now to do anything like that.
I mean, I would just only suggest if we do limited hours, there would be work hours, and I don't know that really benefits the community, but maybe some people would be able to utilize it at that point. But, I mean, then that would open up another issue, other issues, so it's really, something we should all think about, the public safety and the benefit outweighing the hazard that it could be.
yeah, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Sure.
I don't think it makes any sense to open it really during the week. Before, I think people were kind of pushing for the week because it was holiday season, everybody was out of work, and all the kids were home all day, and then people were like, man, like the kids are home all the day, we should have a park. I think now it's not really viable because everybody, like, there's nobody really here except the police department on the weekends, and the weekends now is when people really would have the time, Saturdays and Sundays.
Right.
And we just, we don't have, we could hire a cleaning crew to come and I'm sure they have COVID cleaning crews now to spray
they do.
things down, but I'm not sure how expensive that is. Maybe something we could look into just to see how expensive that would be. But besides that, it might not be worth the money compared to just having it open 2 days a week on the weekend, so. But,
Okay, perfect.
but I was gonna say, Mr. Chair, if I may, the tracking report, for the NEAT, we went over right before the Tyler went over the NEAT program, and it's still post-election, and it is the new year right after the holidays. So I would just say that there's probably not going to be a lot of big updates as far as the tracking report. So I think we should really focus on Are we keeping this, or is this
Got it,
completed? You know
yeah.
what I mean? And then we can just
Okay.
go through it like that, because I think the manager will have more updates at the next committee meeting after everything's back running full, so.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So like I said, we already went through few items here. El Jardín, that's staying, stormwater project, the parks, maintenance improvement. The septic sewer project is an ongoing thing, and it's, hopefully, you know, by next month, we'll start moving on with, you know, our, you know, Pennoni and try to have these, this
Yeah.
finish and, you know, negotiations with them and the remaining of the project. I know the lawyer and manager, and they're being very busy with, you know, the FEMA stuff for these, for until the end of this week. So hopefully next week, we start, you know, having some, talks with Pennoni, right, Mr. Attorney? And, so that's staying, that's very, that's a very important item. So any,
No, when it comes, Mr. Chair, if I may.
sure,
When it comes to Pennoni, there's not really like talk about the attorney, myself, the village manager. We've been dealing with this. We have conference calls all the time about this. Our community block, development block funds are intertwined with this. We have calls about this week coming up because this is like something that's coming. So the Pennoni thing, is there's really nothing to talk about because we don't know where that's really going right now. So there's not a real update on that, but just know that once we get through this part, there may be an update soon. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
There may be an update
yes,
soon.
that's the only thing they can get us to move on that project. Until we have, you know, the full, you know, plan for the project, the deliverables. And, so that's that. And, so next we have, Madam
I'm just gonna
Manager.
say, this was
Yes.
something, I don't know why this is still here. We don't, a Public Works intern, this, I think, was on this tracking report before I became manager. It never happened, and I don't see an
Okay.
opportunity or for that for now. We don't have a department,
Right.
so the supervision of such work, unless we, I don't know that there's even funding for that at this point, so I don't.
Madam Manager, Mr. Chair, if I may. Yeah, that was something, you guys, from years ago. That was something that we were trying to partner with Barry University or FIU University.
right.
It was FIU or Barry University. It was former councilperson Dreyer who was the one that was spearheading that, and he actually ended up getting an intern approved, but something ended up happening with the manager at that point. I think something happened with the manager at that point with the communication with the manager in the school. But that's what that was. I don't know now, especially with COVID and stuff, you know, if that's even viable. But that's something that we should take off the tracking report, maybe, if we want to, and think about it maybe next year or something like that. Because it's a pretty good thing. It's just, it was something that to where young college students could do an internship, you know, through here, that are interested in like government operation, public works, like, you know, the political system and things like that they could come here, work with the, you know, with public works, kind of see how everything works, you know, with the small village, with the government. It was kind of like that woven in type of thing.
Yeah, so
That's
we
what it
can,
was.
we can remove that from the tracking report.
Okay.
Good, thank you, Mayor. And next we have North Miami Medium. So I guess that's more of the construction going on with the
Yes, well, what happened, 2 years ago, I think, we were approached by the county, asking us for the variance or the approval permits, allowing us to plant the trees on the medians on North Miami Avenue.
right.
And apparently, we didn't have the right to do that, so they removed them and started working on the bridge. They
On the
needed to
bridge,
do
right.
that before working on the bridge. So, because that's a county road, they are the ones who maintain the medians. And I asked that when they finish that bridge construction, that they please replant something They said the trees were, FDOT even disallowed, those trees were too tall and what have you, so they're gonna replant them. But we, you know, I asked that we be considered when they replant them so that we can make sure they're nice and colorful and pretty and, you know, all that.
Perfect. Okay.
So when they're finished with construction, then they'll put the planting.
So is it something that needs to stay on the tracking report, or is it something that was just revised, or?
I mean, it can, or, I mean, I don't think you,
Because it's actually, if it's the county,
yeah.
you should, I mean, there's not much we can,
Right, it's not really under our control,
Our
except that we
control,
know
yeah.
they're supposed to replant it.
In that same issue of the median on Miami, was part of that also like signage in terms, you know, kind of to announce that you've entered El Portal? Was that part of what
Yeah.
I
that was?
think they said they're not gonna,
No, we can't put the.
they're not gonna replace that
Right.
little wall with
Okay.
the El Portal.
They won't have, if they declare that we won't have an option of any kind of design for something like that? If-
For a sign, no,
Okay,
no sign.
Okay.
No signage, because when the sign, or the wall kept being, you know, hit by vehicles,
Vehicles,
we
it
wanted
was
to put it back up, and
costly
told us we can't
too, right.
because it was a hindrance from a roadway perspective from FDOT.
Okay,
So we then put the sign on the side of the, you know, so when we did our new signs, we have that on the bridge, but it's right on the, you know, like
on
right
the
away.
sidewalk and the,
of the-
yeah.
yes, going over the
And it's
bridge.
small, you can't
they
really
look
see
nice,
much.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on, we have, well, tree trimming, that's mostly for, wet season, for hurricane season, stuff like that, so that's staying, on the tracking report.
What you can maybe write is that every June we do it, because it's the or May to June we'll do it for hurricane season,
Right,
but, yeah, we continue to do that.
we continue to do that, perfect. Lot improvement, that's staying, that's part of the, parks, beautification and stuff like that.
Do you want to add that to the parks, or you want it separate?
We should add it to the park.
Okay.
And, so seawall project, that's inactive, so that is something that it's, you know, I know you had something to do with it, and we
Well,
had a
just,
lot of talks with it.
that should remain on the tracking
Yeah,
report
yeah,
for at
that
least
should
the next
remain,
30
right,
years, I
yeah,
think, so.
Yeah.
It may
Okay.
Yeah, I know that through the Resiliency Task Force, there's been some talk about that, a revisit, so maybe there will be something to update it with. you know,
Perfect.
in the
Yeah,
coming
by
months.
2040, we'll have an idea if it's gonna be the 2 feet like they've said, or if it's gonna be closer to 10, so.
Perfect. Okay, the next one we have, what is,
Northwest Third.
Northwest Third.
Avenue. Okay, now, for this, I can say that we have done the planting of the trees on Northwest.
by the school?
Yes, by the school for
Right.
the walk. So that is us adding the tree canopy, landscaping for the street to be more walkable. And so we just did that, we had through the grant.
We
the
planted, we planted 30
33 trees.
trees, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we did that, and we'll continue to plant when, for next year, when we identify an area that needs some planting.
Okay. Remove that, removing that, and then, next one, dog park, that hasn't been thought about it, that should be removed from the tracking report. Village
Yeah,
have
I
no
don't
money to
know.
be,
That was before my time too, Mayor.
so,
I don't know, I mean, I feel like it should stay on the tracking report in terms of part of the green space plan, or at least rolled up
I mean,
into the.
well, I think, I mean, it's,
I mean,
to me, it's not a,
it's not viable. It's not
Not
something
viable,
that you
not
that
at
you're
all.
thinking about. I mean, maybe that's something that I don't know. I mean, it seems that
I mean,
you might not
you
want-
wanna keep it there to say that we consider about, I don't think it's.
I mean, is it
We have to
something-
be
is it
reasonable,
something-
and we have to.
Mr. Chair, is it something that you're saying you don't want, period, because you just don't want a dog park?
I
Or,
mean,
or
I
are you,
don't,
or
I
are you
don't
saying that
think,
you
I
just,
own a dog, I mean, it's not like I'm against it or whatever. It's just like we so tiny, we're facing so many problems, and that we don't have money for. And to have, discussion about a dog park, I don't think it's,
yeah, so you have an option, Mr. Chair. You have the
Right.
option of.
keep it there, keep it
of
inactive.
I don't I don't want it to even happen,
Right.
so I'm going to take it off. Or you have the option of, I don't see it happening right now because it's not viable, but so you keep it, but you can keep it on.
Right.
You know, you can
I
keep
don't
it
see-
on because if it's something that if
It's something that's there, we can talk about it, we don't, so.
if it's something
fine
that
then.
you may possibly want in the future, you should keep it on.
Right,
You know, because you never know what might happen. You never know if one day the manager might walk in here and say, "Hey, you guys, we found some grant for like dog parks, and it's on the tracking report, so we remember."
yeah,
You
and
know what I
buying
mean?
$500,000 property
or we found a
for a dog
grant.
park. I
No,
don't
I'm
think
saying
so.
she could walk in and say, "We found a grant for parks." You know, and you know, but it's parks these size, and we'll say, you know what, that's perfect size for like a dog park. We could. And so you don't know. So if it's something that you know that you may want to revisit in the future, you should keep it there. If it's something that you know you definitely will not want to see in the future, then you should take it off. That's how you should make that decision.
Or maybe roll it into the parks, section, like if you want park maintenance and possible future.
Possible
parks or
future
something,
park,
maybe
dog,
put that
yeah,
under there.
that's more, yeah, if it's part of park projects and something that we can come along with, you know, and have some opportunity right there. I mean, we just discovered that we have a piece of easement that's pretty sizable, and we can have a dog park right there, right? 50 by 80, that's a nice piece of
Are
property.
you talking about behind the sanctuary?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was.
So that's the village property. So if it's something that really wanted to happen, we have the land to do it for free. So I don't know whether, you know, the lawyer has something to say about, you know, we have to discuss that, whether an easement could be, or right of way could be converted into something else, piece of lot or something to, you know, something for that to happen.
Mr. Chair, if I may, very quickly, Mr. Attorney. You know, I just think that's something that if you, like I said, if you feel like there's something that you might want to see in the future, you can roll it in, just roll it into parks, as the manager suggested.
Right.
You know, right now, as you pointed out when you first started to discuss it, you know, it's not viable right now, so there's really no reason to talk about, you know, an easement right now or something like that, because it's just not viable right now. So just roll it into parks, and that'll be that.
Okay,
Yeah,
sounds
sounds
great.
good.
Thank you for your input.
I'm here for whatever you need. my
Yeah.
friend.
And that will, and then we have item 12 is Rail Northwest 86th Street. What
That was
that-
something that predates me as well, but I will defer to the mayor if he has something to
And it says
tell us
AK.
about that.
Rail Northwest 86th Street.
Uh-huh.
That might have something to do with, if it's 86th Street, that might have something to
Back
do
here?
that might have something to do with the discussions back then of the Bright Line stuff.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's probably what that was discussion, because they were still trying to figure out where they were gonna put the stop.
Oh, really? Okay.
That might have something to do with that.
Rail.
No, it said 86th Street.
No, Northwest. It's Northwest.
86.
What does it say? Because I don't.
Rail Northwest, maybe the walking bridge that's by the school?
No,
or
no, that's not.
No.
Oh, no, that's 86,
Yeah.
but that's
That's
on that
86.
side. It says rail, Northwest 86th Street inactive, and then it has 8K. like a
AK.
little K. I'm assuming that means 1,000, but.
Right, right.
Oh, I think that was to redo the footbridge. The
Yeah,
rails.
the
That was
rail,
to
right.
redo it.
Oh,
We
I
were gonna
see.
redo it and
Yeah.
upgrade the rails and the footbridge. That's what that was for the
And so, but that's not, is that considered like road parks or anything like, could it,
Well, I don't know what that is, but I can say I've been approached by Miami-Dade County about the footbridge.
Yeah.
And not in a positive way, so I don't know that I don't think it's ours to do anything with.
oh, okay,
But,
perfect.
Yeah, in my opinion, Mr. Chair, if I may, Vice Mayor.
Sure.
Give me one second. In my opinion, I would take it off. I mean, Vice Mayor, I know Vice Mayor Urban wanted to jump in, but in my opinion, I would take it off because that's just something that we were gonna do, we were trying to do. I know it ended up being expensive, and now it's even worse because I know I've been in discussion with the manager, and the manager's been saying that the county is saying like, well, you guys need to like take down this and take down this and take down this when it comes to that footbridge.
Right.
Things that we currently have, but things that were nice, right? Like the like things that make the
gate.
things that make the footbridge look beautiful, like the gate. The county is
Yeah,
like,
it was a
you,
whole
you
community,
can't have that up there, you know.
event.
So it's even worse now.
Wow.
So I think it's something that should just be taken off. But I know Vice Mayor Urban had he wanted to try.
No, I think I agree with that. I mean, any issues that comes up with needing, falls essentially under park maintenance, right?
Mhm.
So if we've got that covered under park maintenance, then I think we're covered.
Because that actually leads to the park,
Right, the River State.
the
Park.
River State Park.
Mhm.
yeah.
That is the focal point of the park, really. the
Exactly.
footbridge.
Okay, perfect. So, so we concluded the list for the tracking report. If there's any questions from the council, open it, close to the council, open it to the public. Any questions, no? Hearing none? Yes, the holiday tree pickup.
You want to mention or you want me to?
Yeah, you can talk about it.
Okay, I just want to remind our residents, I mean, I've seen a lot of trees out on the streets. The holiday tree pickup is Saturday, January 9th. They are only picking up holiday trees, so don't put out extra bulk and all of that. But our coastal waste, our contractor will be out to pick up those trees bright and early on Saturday morning. So just a reminder, please do that. And also just an invitation was extended to us from Miami-Dade County in partnership with the village and our resiliency task force. If you want to read it or you want me to read it.
You get
On
on it.
January 12th, there will be a community forum from the Resilience 305 office in Village of El Portal to attend a webinar, 5:30 to 7. It's gonna, our meeting will overlap, but we'll go to this one first and then go to our meeting. But this meeting is to talk about flooding in our community, and they really want to hear from our residents on what's happening with the flooding. So I hope that as many residents as possible can attend this to weigh in and let the county know firsthand what the experiences have been. I've been, forwarding photographs and making reports and complaints and what have you about flooding when they happen, but it's good to hear it firsthand from the residents. So this is a good opportunity for that.
Perfect. And as we should, let's talk a little bit about lighting. Since we have, I know there's a few concerns, and we talked a little bit earlier about the lighting through the village, and the concerns about, the new lighting being too bright, or I took the time and went around. We have talked to the FP&L consultant or vendor, and he had given us some addresses where I went. Mrs. Alou went also and checked them out. They're not bad. I mean, and the options they're giving us is actually like they're saying they're giving us options now because they know we're a bird sanctuary and tree city and all of that, just like they gave it to the Gables and a few cities like that where they want to keep the low lighting and stuff like that. But it's in about 2 years, it's not gonna become like it's gonna be like whatever they have. That's what they're gonna change it for. And the reason why is because it's been more difficult for them to change the old bulbs to the with the only thing available right now is LED. So now they have those yellowish LED lighting that they're not bad. Now, and I understand the issue with the wildlife and all of that good stuff that we have going on in the village. And the problem we're having is that those light posts are pretty high.
Right.
So, and they're actually lighting pretty much the whole canopy tree. I mean, they're not lighting down in the streets, pretty much. So, and in order for us to change, so it's not costing the village anything to change those light bulbs at all, zero. And in reality, we're not also gonna be seeing much of the difference in money saving. As a matter of fact, he told me it will be only like $20-something a year,
Yes,
or something
right.
like that. So it's not like
Same
we're
price.
saving money on electricity by going from the the old light bulbs that we have to LEDs, and so the problem is that they own the light post.
That's right.
So in order for us to change it to something that's lower, less than 8 feet tall and
Sure.
facing down, just to light up the sidewalks and stuff, and not to disturb the wildlife, it has to become from us, from the village, and that's very costly. Now, we had another conversation based on what the Resiliency Task Force has sent me. I think it was Mrs. McLean, or I think she sent me an email, and with all that good information. But the problem we're having that we have a lot of, he was gonna come back with an inventory about the light posts that were in feeders, like they have cables going to another, so if those cannot be changed. So it's only a few that we, we can actually, if we have the possibilities and the money to do it, is the only thing that go ahead, Mr.
Sure. So,
Vice Mayor.
so I'm on board with the FPL, with their off, like, I'm on board with that, and that's fine. When I'm talking about, like, we need to consider, like, our own long-term lighting plan. For example, I was talking to Robert Ruano the other day. We have a tree board meeting later this week. In terms of grants, he's saying, look, the future of grants is going to be all matching grants, right? Because of the funding challenges that the pandemic has presented to governments globally, and then at the national, all the way down to the local level, as small as it gets, like us, right? And so I guess what I'm saying is that we should at least have a long-term lighting plan
Oh, yeah,
that belongs
definitely.
to us,
Mhm.
so that when the time would come where the opportunity would arise or the budget would be available, the plan's already there, and that's going to take a long time to develop that plan. So I think that's what I'm talking about with the streets as well. The plan should be there and being worked on, so that, down the road, when the opportunity presents itself, we're ready for it. That's what I'm saying about the lighting.
Right.
So I'm on board with what FPL is doing, and I'm all good with it. And so I'm talking like much longer term.
Longer terms.
Yeah.
And like I said, the
Yeah.
problem we're having is just that, the light post. We actually talked about the possibility of probably bringing down a little bit the light fixture from the same pole and everything, and he hasn't actually, because like I said, we have to go, and then they have to come assess all the light posts and see which ones are feeders or not, to then see how many posts they can actually replace for lower post or.
And then I won't give you a heart attack. I'll wait until I'm leaving office in 2022 to tell you about the plan that El Portal should have for doing a compost-powered power plant, and we should get off the grid completely away from FPL. So, and I'll work on that as a civilian once I leave this seat. But
Mrs. Manager, you gonna do,
Oh, to add to the lighting?
add something to it, or?
No,
It's pretty
just
much
that,
covered, yeah.
as you stated, we did meet with Mr. Lazo a couple of months ago,
Right.
before the holidays, and asked for, just some quotes and some assessments as to what we could do. I mean, he was like, look, you're gonna have to pay for that,
Right.
and that's not gonna be inexpensive. But for what we have now, I don't think, he said there's no rush, but he would like us to tell him the answer about what the lights will be. So they gave us the options. I don't, at this point, no one's really responded to our online workshop, so we don't know what the residents
So
want.
we're definitely gonna have to go to the lower aluminum light,
Yeah.
just to keep it on the low side, and that's the only option we have. He suggested to go 3,000 aluminums, and like within the city, and then we have the ones that are higher up with the concrete poles, right?
Right.
To do those a little bit brighter, which is 4,000, which again, they're not bad, and that's pretty much it. And just to keep in mind, I mean, I know there's a lot of new people coming to the town, and they want wider streets, and they want more, brighter lights. It's not gonna happen here. I mean, we're a bird sanctuary, we're a tree city, we like it the way it is. I've been living here for 7 years, I love it the way it is. If you want more security, and stuff like that, so, there's a lot of things that you can do, and do those, security lighting system. We're not supposed to be having bright lights, on all the time, it's just so, do little things here and there that will help improve your surroundings, I guess, around your house, but definitely, if we change the lighting, it's gonna brighten it up a little bit. It's not gonna be much, but it's not that we can add light posts to every street or stuff like that. It's just not, like Mr. Urban said, I mean, it could be a long-term, project that we might be able to do our own lighting system and having posts like every 10 feet, and a long side and a shorter version, and have something nice. But as of now, the changing the lighting is not going to cost us anything. We cannot change the light post to bring them down a little bit more, and
And we have
It
to go
is.
with what's energy efficient. It's for the
Exactly,
best
and we
for the
have to go
environment,
with
for
yes.
our birds and animals.
And just keep in mind that Northeast Second Avenue and North Miami Avenue, they're not Upward Tiles
Lights. right,
lights.
they're the counties.
They're the county lights, and they're their responsibility, yeah. Okay, perfect. Any questions from the public to the council, the village manager? No? Well, seeing none, Mr. Mayor?
I think we're good. I just, it would be nice to have a town hall about this, though, because people are concerned about lights, So, I think it would be, fair to hear what people's concerns are about lights and lighting and things like that. And then I think that, we should give them an opportunity to say how they feel, and then we should, talk to them and kind of explain to them, where we come from as far as being a bird sanctuary and things like that, so that they understand. But I think it would be a good thing to have that. The manager was saying that, because the form, the light form, town hall form, it's been on the website for a while,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it was ever attached to like a date, or it was never attached to anything that was finite.
I
Well-
recall that,
Go ahead.
just that we had invited FPL to come to one of our public works meeting, but I think
It went
run
for so long,
they
and he had
left.
to go, and,
So,
yeah.
Perhaps this would be an opportunity.
Even from a website, we didn't get any feedback or anything, so.
With the new website, is it possible to use it as a chance to kind of rebroadcast that availability for people to look at that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. It says click to download, but
But maybe give it like some front page.
yeah.
Love.
Because
on the
what
new
happened with the
website.
lighting, in order for you to appreciate it and all that, you have to drive and go to those,
Yeah.
Location.
locations and see.
And they're not far, the
Yeah,
locations,
right.
not too far.
I mean, it's something that we can discuss another time. I just always want to try to do things.
And again, that is something that's being offered to us because of the conditions and what we
Yeah.
We have going on here, but it's not something that FPL is gonna be offering, a few years from now.
Yeah. No, I know.
It's
we have to
whatever
get
they
it
have available, that's what they're gonna use, and that's what they're gonna change it for, and that's it,
done. Yeah.
so, yeah.
Just have to really be open about it and really communicate that, because once we change these lights, and we're doing it for a reason, that's a logical reason why we're doing it, but we don't, once we change these lights and the people are like, but you guys, you changed these lights, but you guys didn't improve the lighting system. We have to let them know why we chose these lights, what FP&L is offering, how they're not offering it forever. Like, we need to communicate these things, like, with them. That's all I'm saying.
And again, I just wanna put this in there, so we are actually the last municipality.
Mhm.
they're waiting for the change in lighting. So
Which-
they
which-
change every municipality.
Which is good. I just think maybe we need to hold like a
So-
town hall
Right.
to where, you know, we just hold a town hall, a virtual town hall Zoom, a virtual town hall, and we just say, hey, you guys, we're changing the lights. This is how it's gonna go. This is why we're changing the lights. This is why we're changing to these type of lights. You know what I mean? This is why we can't change to, you know, brighter lights. This is what FPNL is offering. This is all they're offering. They're almost not offering it anymore, so we really have to move on this. We're just doing this. This is like an informational town hall.
That's right.
It's not a town hall to like, you know, to like decide what we like to make a decision on what we're going to do, which some town halls are. Some town halls are, look, you guys, we're thinking about doing this. What do you guys think about this? And some people are like, you guys are idiots. You shouldn't do, you know what I'm saying? Or yeah, that's great. Like we could say this is not one of those type of town halls. This is an informational town hall. We're just letting you guys know, you know, what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Just something that we may want to consider. You know,
And through
'cause
that,
lights
we could get
always-
some initial feedback from the community on what they would want for like the long-term plan, right? So,
FPL is going to do this anyway. It's just, they're giving us the opportunity to weigh in on the selection. That's what it's for.
Right.
So,
right.
yes, but again, time is running out. So we need to get the input, and maybe a town hall would be a good way to address
Okay.
that, or to give the residents another
We'll
opportunity.
organize one then and then do it so everybody will be happy
Okay. All right.
and have their own saying. Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Mrs. Lou, manager. Okay, any questions from the public? I think, no? Okay, so we are now in good and welfare. Anybody has anything to say? No? We're all good? Okay. Now, we are adjourning, right? This meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
I'll
have
second the motion.
Okay, having a motion from Mayor Nickerson and a second by Mr. Orburn.
All in favor?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, hearing names. Any names? No? Okay, all good? Okay, this meeting adjourns at
9:22.
9:22 PM.